Hey y'all, I am just getting home. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with this Tuesday tally. I don't know what the heck is going on over here on this shelf. I had this thing all organized, and in the last video that I did, I noticed that it was completely a mess. So I guess I'm gonna have to come back out here and straighten it all up again. I'm gonna go ahead and get started right here with the tomatoes and the potato grow bags that we got planted up last week. So here in the wagon, I do have one potato grow bag. This is the red potatoes that I really have no idea where they came from. They have not come up through the soil yet. They were slightly chitted, but I do expect this to take another week and a half or so before they start to come up. As far as the tomatoes, everything seems to be looking pretty good. I'm not really sure what's going on here. This is a speckled Roma. That's a speckled Roma. And for some reason, it is starting to decline. Everything else is looking pretty good, except for my buddy over here, Woolly Kate. Now, Woolly Kate has not died yet, but you can see how small Woolly Kate is in comparison to all of the other plants that are here. The only other one, or I should say two, that are lagging behind is the one over here. And that is because it does not get quite as much light as the others do. And also this one here, which is not looking bad. It is a cherry tomato. That's the red cherry. But it's just not quite as big as the others. As far as the potato grow bags, all of the ones with the Purple Majesty have come up in the containers. You can see the sprouts there. So, I mean, these are looking good. They're looking good. The green stalks are ready to be moved. These potatoes are now scrubbing the side of the garage door when it opens and closes. I did get my spinner bases in. I had ordered the spinner bases and they did come in the other day. So they're just sitting there. I do need to level out some space to put these in their permanent space. And I'm still not really sure where that's going to be. This bed still has not been touched. I've just kind of been piling native plants that I picked up from the garden center in this space just to make sure that they got water because the sprinklers do hit it. The 3 grow bags that we started with the squash and beans and calibrachoa are here. In 2 of the grow bags, the squash has come up, and in 1 it has not, but in all of them, the beans have started coming up. The okra in these 2 containers are now staying more upright when they get watered, and I'm just trying to keep them guided into the trellis so that those stems will come up in the middle rather than outside. The peppers here, the cages got taken off of them. They are a little bent because the cages were on for so long, but they will straighten out eventually. I'm just going to come over here and try to pull these 2 okras back inside. Not sure if they will stay because they are a little bit short, but I just want to try to get the leaves tucked there so that they will stay in. Just checking here. It looks like I got 1 juice bar left on the battery. I need to get the batteries changed in that timer. I still have not trimmed these hedges. And I know I say that every week, but trimming these hedges and trees is such an ordeal. I have to really set aside the time to come out here and do it because I've got to bring out the ladder and up and down, up and down, and I'd rather do other projects. This project finally got cleaned up. I do still need to do some weeding in here and come back in with more mulch. It's time to get this section trimmed up now. Lots of weeds growing in here. It is that time of year, and as our rains are starting to roll in, it's gonna really start getting pretty messy out here. I'm not sure why there's a paper towel, but I'll come back and get that. There is a tag that belongs on my rose, and somehow it has gotten ripped off. The green stalk is still looking pretty nice. I have spun it a couple times now. We've got some roses blooming here. We've got daylilies blooming. Got lots of buds on this one. It's looking good. Time to do a little bit of cleanup here on this pot that we did for fall. I've got 2 containers here that had the okra from last season, and I need to, I'm sorry, I'm stuck on a rose here. I need to figure out what I'm going to pot here. I was going to do some squash, but I'm not sure. Not sure if I'm going to go that route. I'll just put this tag here because this is the tag. The Pascali rose is this guy here. And I'm seeing some new leaves coming in. Now, this rose does not do the greatest in this spot, but it has been here for a couple years now, and I do get blooms on it, so I'm not gonna bother it. It's growing more upright than bushing because it is reaching for the sun, and I'm okay with that in this spot. I do need to come in and trim these viburnums. If I bring them down about a foot, then you'll be able to see the rose a little bit better. This drift rose is always happy. I have started training the sweet potato vine back up this arbor after having to protect it from the cold for so long. I am losing strawberries again, but I am getting runners. So what I'm going to do is start pushing these runners into the holes where I'm losing one, and hopefully they will take root. Not a whole lot going on over here. This is just a project that I really need to get into because all of these plants are pretty overgrown and they need to be thinned out. It's just a lot going on here. The mulberry is trying to produce fruit. However, just like every year, when the mulberry does start to produce fruit, the birds start to hang out more and more in the tree. And they basically just watch the mulberries, and as soon as they ripen, they take them. So we don't ever get them. I'm gonna go ahead and take these mustards. I've got a few other greens around in the garden that I need to take, and I'll go ahead and get those washed, and I will freeze them because we are not really interested in eating any greens right now. Let's see if I can get this off. Hang on a second. Okay, so here we are in the green stalk. This is the basket weave green stalk that was planted up with the calibrachoas and the strawberries and the collards and kale that I had left over. You can see those guys get pretty big pretty quick. So they've been in here for about a week, and they were really teeny tiny little guys when I put them in, and they're doing pretty good now. Just gonna zip this up. I'm gonna take you all the way down to the bottom with the zipper. And let's see if we can get out of here and finish walking this space. Of course, we've got a few of the orchids that are still in bloom. We've got some lettuce here that is doing a fantastic job of growing. I don't know how much longer it's gonna last, but it is pretty protected in this little corner. We've got the Mexican sour gherkin that is starting to vine up the tree. I'm okay with that. We've got these little carrots that I need to thin. We've got the fuchsia that is still doing pretty good blooming. Of course, Supertunia Vista bubblegum never disappoints. And we are starting to get flowers on this tomato. I don't know if this is red currant or red cherry, and right now I'm too lazy to lean all the way down there to see which one it is, but it's doing a pretty good job. I did come out here and do some hand pollination on corn, but I am starting to see some silks appear on this one, so I need to come out and do it again. Now, the crazy thing is I'm allergic to corn. I eat it, and I eat it pretty regularly, but for some reason when I come out to do this pollination, this corn has me sneezing my head off. So maybe I need to wear a mask when I come back out. We'll see what happens with that. We did harvest a lot of the collards that are in the containers, and we had a nice little meal. I do have others that I can harvest from. The corn over here, for the most part, is pollinated. I am just waiting for it to bulk up. If you look here, you'll start to see a few ears that are clearly identifiable now, where they were still pretty hidden before. The strawberries here, I need to get these hooked up to drip. It's really hard for me to remember to come out here and water them. And when you don't water strawberries, they die really quickly when they dry out. They don't like dry soil. On this corn, I was still waiting for some silks to appear, and I still don't see any silks on this side anywhere, but we've got a ton of tassels at the top, and that pollen is open and ready, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. These are the Christmas lima beans that are growing up in this corn. Seem to be doing good. I don't see any flowers yet. I don't see any beans yet. So I don't know. We'll see. The zinnias are gorgeous as expected. This orchid is a dendrobium, and I cannot see the name of it, but it is a leafless dendrobium now in bloom. And then we have an encyclia that is in bloom back here. And as I walk this way, you know, there's quite a bit out here that's just giving me a nice little show, giving the pollinators a place to hang out. And I actually came out this morning and just enjoyed this view from the screen door, because it is awake and things are changing daily. I'm getting rose blooms on roses that I thought were dead. I'm getting more pollinators in. I'm getting more butterflies in. I have now identified, I believe, 6 butterflies in the garden. So they are back. They are back, and I am happy to have them back. I do have this jasmine that needs to get put in the ground at some point. It's just been sitting, and I moved it to remind myself to get it in the ground. The Indian hawthorn is blooming. Of course, the honeysuckle is blooming, and the honeysuckle is waiting for me to get it back in check, because now I've missed my opportunity to weave it through here without breaking it, so I can't go down too low. I'll just stick it there. It'll be fine. Privet cassia is throwing seeds everywhere. These violas and pansies are still holding on. We are still having some pretty cool evenings. Mid to low 60s. So it's helping my pansies and violas hang around for a little bit longer than what they normally would. This area in the back is starting to get a little bit messy. It's time for me to start pulling out some of those fall flowers and bring in some more summer appropriate flowers. I do need to trim on this fan flower. It just breaks my heart to think about cutting it, because these two just are loving their life. They're just loving their life, and I've never had one to perform this well for me. So apparently it likes this spot, makes my little monks look like they're snuggled up in bed under a nice purple blanket. The orchid tree is enjoying its life. It's got plenty more blooms to open up on it. I just want it to get a little bit taller. Don't have anything going on with the Vitex right now. I'm not really sure what these spots are. If anybody does, oh look, a ladybug. If anybody does know, I mean, I'm not liking those spots on the Vitex, but it did bloom for me in the fall. So I don't know what it's going to do. The Pittosporum is getting pretty wide. I'll probably come in and do a little bit of trimming on it. It looks like it's looking for some more water. So I'll take care of that as well. This area is ready for some trimming again. As usual, these poor radishes are being neglected because I've not been out here the last couple days between little family outings that we've done and just wanting to rest. The poor radishes are not getting their daily water. If you're going to use these small containers, you gotta water them every day, and I just have not done my part. So I'm not upset with the radishes. I have taken a few out of here. Let's see. I don't know if I can get this one out. Well, it's not completely swollen. I don't like the color on it. I don't like the color on it at all. So I wanted to yank it out. So I'll just toss it over there. This ageratum is just out of control. I need to just come in. It is smothering my Indian hawthorn here. So I do need to come in here and clean that out. More carrots. I did check on these carrots the other day. I don't have any at the size I really want to harvest yet, but they're getting there. They're getting there. Just not quite where I want them to be. I did get one out of this bed already, and I'm going to give these guys probably another week to bulk up a bit. Sorry guys, it's really bright out here today. The sun is over here ready to start setting, but it's going to be a delay because the time has changed. Everything over here still looks pretty much the same, except for my overgrown Durantas, which really want to be trimmed, and the ageratum sticking out from everywhere, being very loud and obnoxious. Helen Von Stein, of course, is still doing great. It's very happy in this spot. I do have a couple of leaves that are dying back, but I mean, it's a plant. It's going to lose leaves. It's what plants do. Oh, look. Our Rose of Sharon is waking up. Let's see if the other two are awake yet. Oh, yeah, look. That one down there is waking up. And there's the other one. Now, this one does have some yellowing going on. I need to get in here and do a little bit of feed, but I'm sure some of that is due to the ageratum just kind of suffocating it. So this is that area that needs a lot of cleanup going on with it. These plants are just getting tired because they are cooler weather flowers, and we've been pretty warm, upper 80s and low 90s a few times. But if you look close, some of this lavender is still holding on. I mean, if you get down into the center, it doesn't look great, but I mean, it's not the absolute worst that I've ever seen lavender. And of course the snapdragons are, they're pretty much over it. Now on this side, they do stay in shade for most of the day until the sun moves over here. It is right now a little after 5 o'clock, and that is where the sun is hitting this bed. This one is the plum cod. I did confirm that. It does not have any blooms on it, so I don't think I'm going to get any fruit from it. Although the trees on the other side, all the way over there, do have some flowers. I'm hoping that we did get cold enough during our pseudo winter this year to at least give me a couple pieces of fruit. The gardenia is starting to look much better. It is coming back into flower. You see some buds there, and I'm seeing some buds here and some buds down here and buds here. So that treatment of iron and nitrogen and calcium is working. I do need to come back and do another one, and also the hibiscus is waking up as well. So once I see where I'm getting new growth on all these stems, then I will come in and trim off anything that's not doing anything. But so far, even this tall stem here seems to be waking up. Green Cascade is looking better than it's been looking for a while. It is leafing out again. The hibiscus here is back in flower, and I do actually have one spent flower here. That is the coral colored hibiscus, and it is loaded with buds, so it's going to be a very pretty show in a couple days. Another view of the corn from this side in the blinding sun. Sorry about that. The meteor shower verbena is still doing great. This is the, which loropetalum is this? I think it's ruby loropetalum. It is still struggling. I'm not going to give up on it yet. I'll just keep planting things in front of it until I see it doing what it's supposed to do. The mealybug infestation here, I don't know, I'm losing my words. This infestation here needs to be treated, or I am going to lose this hibiscus. It did self-seed there because it was originally planted here. The foxglove is spent above, but if you look closely, you'll see some flower stalks that have blooms about to open, and all the way down here a new stalk coming up. So I'm not really sure what's going on this year. These things are not supposed to still be blooming and growing here, but our weather has been really weird, and I'll take it because I like to have them hang around a little bit. See if I can get you out of the sun. This crepe myrtle is a black diamond crepe myrtle, as is, I believe, I think I have 3, but this one is waking up now. I thought I was gonna lose it after we took it out of the pot, but it is doing okay. It's doing really nice. Able to catch this rose with a nice bloom on it and a bud opening, so there's that. The clerodendron, which you guys see all the time because it's always in bloom. This is one of the other black diamond crepe myrtles. Let's see if I can get the sun off of it. So this one is still in the pot. The other one is now in the ground, and I thought, you know, with shocking it, that it was going to take a little bit longer to leaf out, but it actually did pretty good. This one is still in the pot, and this leaf out is gorgeous this year. Last year it wasn't so pretty when it leafed out. I am happy to say that all 3 of my grapevines are alive and have pushed new growth for the spring, summer, whatever they call themselves. So that's number 2. And the third one here is now awake. We've got cucumbers going on here. All of the flowers have fallen off of the orange, but I'm hoping that some of these little babies become oranges. It was full of bees when it was in flower, so I'm hoping that some of them, just a couple. I definitely don't need all of them to have been fertilized, but I'd like to at least get 5 oranges this year, and it will be the first year that I've got productive fruiting. It does fruit every year, but it usually drops the fruit, so we'll see what happens with that. We've got some beans here. I don't remember which beans. I don't know if it's a snap bean or if it's a shelling bean, but I probably should get down there and find out, because it's ready to start producing beans and I need to know what to do with them as they're coming ready. The cabbages and kales are still being cabbages and kale. The squashes over here don't get quite as much light as they need, but they are flowering and they are still growing. Now I do have one over here that is having a hard time. Looks like it's got some powdery mildew possibly, and I don't know what's gonna happen with this one. It's got something going on. Looks like powdery mildew to me, but the other one doesn't have it yet, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna keep the mothball water there and hope that I don't get squash vine borers, and I'm gonna hope for the best, because I don't have time to babysit my plants. I did come out and reseed these 2 Mr. Stackies for all the pockets that did not have germination, or if the germinated plant died, I did reseed these, so they are starting to come up. This is the first 2, or 1. I think it's 1. This is the first one in the reseed here. None of these germinated in the first round, so they're starting to come up now. The ones that did come up in the first round are still looking good. I do have some leaf miners, as I always do in beans. For some reason, there's always some leaf miners, but I did manage to get the drip system set up in both of the Mr. Stackies, and they are pulling from the water reservoir that they are sitting on and feeding with solar power. We've got some pinto beans here, and they are starting to produce. Also have more pinto beans at the front door. They are starting to produce. So I'm just letting them do their thing. The green onions are doing pretty good, and the remaining aloe pups that were separated are still here being nursed. My neighbor did help me get rid of all of the others that were looking better. So they've all gotten a new home now. And I'm happy about that because I have another aloe in the front that's going to need to be divided this time next year. My little passion vine over here is still hanging out. I'm waiting on it to explode with some growth, but that's probably not likely to happen until we really warm up. I'm listening to birdies chirp. Now, I have been seeing quite a few birds hopping back and forth between my neighbor's viburnum here and my viburnum. And I'm thinking there's a nest in here because I am hearing some little chirps. I don't want to disturb them though. I don't want to disturb them wherever they are. We'll let them be at peace. This is Darth Vader. Yeah, that's the name of it. That one is Darth Vader, the bromeliad. I did not get to see this one bloom yet, but it's got plenty of pups, so I don't know what's going on with that one. I've got all these weeds down here I need to pull. I don't know the name of this bromeliad. The bromeliad collection was my daughter's, and she just stopped taking care of it, so I just kind of lumped them all in with my plants and said, hey, I'll take care of them. I don't want them to just die. The Tabasco pepper is seriously in need of some water. You guys have probably never seen it this dehydrated before. We did get a really good rain last night, but I had not watered in a few days. Where are the little chirps coming from? Where are the little chirps coming from? Then we have the Swiss chard that I really think I'm going to make a quiche. I just don't want to make it until my husband's going to be home on the weekend. And he is the president of his men's group at church. So it's been hard for me to plan a day to go ahead and get this harvested so that it's not sitting out for too long. I want it to be as fresh as possible. So I think this weekend may be that weekend that we have the quiche and call it a yummy breakfast. The Gaillardias are not happy with me because, like I said, I've not been coming out here watering the containers. Hibiscus, what are you doing? This hibiscus does have a few flowers on it. Well, it did. This one doesn't have any at all right now. It did a few weeks ago, so maybe it's just kind of taking a rest. But the one right next to it does have flowers and buds. So we got those. And let me see if I can show you this flower. That's the flower on that one. My peppers, I cannot tell you how excited I am about these peppers that are growing on this plant. This is an orange sun, and it's got a ton of peppers on it. I don't know if you can see them in the camera. I can see them on the camera, but I don't know if you'll be able to see them because it's so dark down here. But there are 13 peppers on this plant, and they're doing good. I don't have a count on how many are on this plant, but it's quite a few and a ton of flowers. And then I've got a jalapeno that I think you might be able to see that is producing in the back. And there is the pepper that I pulled from the green stalk that has made it through its transplant and is still producing its fruit. I did come along the front of this container and plant some, or I should say raised bed. It's not a container, it's a raised bed. I planted some beans along the front. Doesn't look like they all germinated, but I do have a few that have come up, and you guys can see more of the peppers underneath there. The strawberries are here. The onions seem to have transplanted fine, and the garlic is still doing good here in the bed. These are weeds. They're the perfect weeds to pop up in a bed of onions and garlic, because if you don't know what you're looking for, they'll trick you into thinking that they are onions or garlic, and they are not. I'll snap that one. Let's not turn this into a weeding session. I'll come back out and get that done. This is the red curry winter squash. I really want it to come this way, but for some reason it just keeps turning and going back the other way. So I'm going to come in with a landscape staple and force it this way. I think it's looking for the sun, but if it would just come out this way, it would get plenty of sun. I think it's turning because it knows that the sun is on the other side. We also have the container of mothball water here, and it is very strong. It is very strong. I'll tell you at the end of the season how well it worked. I've got a Stapelia that's hiding underneath here. I need to come in and trim back some of the growth on the hibiscus so that that guy can get some sun. Is there anything else going on over here? Got a cutting celery, and I've got some lettuce that is still hanging on here. I've taken out most of the carrots from this bed. Those few that are still there, I believe it's 5. I'm just waiting on them to get a little bit more size so that I can take those out. Let's see. Before I go to the front, I'll go ahead and do this section up front. And up here just looks normal. I've got some weeds that I need to come in and pull. But from the street, it is just a gorgeous bed of color and textures. And I really enjoy looking at it every day when I leave the house. Here is 2 of the miniature roses that have been here. If you look all the way in the back underneath the viburnum, this rose is having the time of its life, blooming its head off so that we can't see the darn flowers. And then the yellow one here in the front. Let me see, let me put my shadow back so you can see. The yellow one here in the front is blooming again now. I'm getting stabbed by bougainvillea. And we got garlic still doing pretty good here. This is a drift rose. I believe this one is the red. And I mean, I'm gonna let the thing do what it does. It's hanging all off into the grass, but I'm not even gonna worry myself about it. Trying to prune it and contain it. I'm gonna just let it do what it does. And now, update on the driveway plants. Beans are doing pretty good. Now, I did start another container of those beans, which I don't remember which ones they are right now, but they have not germinated. It was an old pack of seeds, so that's probably why my germination was so sketchy. I'm not going to worry about it. Not going to try to replant them. I'll probably just pull that container at the end of the week and use it for something different. But look at the progress on our potato grow bags. Every single one of the grow bags is up and doing well. These 4 in the back, I did go ahead and unfold the bags and add the remainder of the soil to the tops. And I expect that by this weekend, I should be able to do 2, 4, 6, 8 more. Those taller ones will all get unfolded, and I'll add the rest of the soil for those. Then we have our bean party going on over here at the column. And these guys are ready for some more nutrients. I'm going to give them a liquid feed. I did give them a granular feed a week ago, but I'm going to go ahead and give them a liquid feed because they are flowering like crazy and ready to produce. The 2 containers that I just planted last week, or was that the week before? I don't remember. A week or 2 ago. They're coming up a little slow because in this pocket, I don't know if you can see here at my front door, they're pretty protected from the sun. Now, they do get some south sun from there, and then they do get the west sun from this direction, but they never get a direct hit because this column blocks from the southwest. So that's contributing a lot to them not coming up as fast as the other beans usually do for me. This bed is ready for a liquid feed, and I will get that done in the coming days. Oh gosh, I missed Rio Vista. Rio Samba. Did I say Rio Vista? Rio Samba has new buds. How about that? And then the remainder of the pinto beans are here. You guys will notice that I did rearrange all of this area to make room for that guy. I got my hands on the blueberry green stalk, and I went with a leaf 7-tier this time. It is the first 7-tier that I'm doing. I prefer to get the original for the deeper pockets, but I thought for the blueberry, let's go with something different. And it matches my door. So I thought this was the perfect place to put it. And so I just went ahead and did a little consolidation here. The orange thyme has germinated. Still don't have anything from the garlic chives yet. And I still don't have anything from the feverfew down below. And whatever I put in here, I have no idea what it was. I think it may have been some kind of basil, but I'm not sure. So, I mean, I'm just taking it as it comes. So that is it. That is what is going on in my garden this Tuesday. I'm winding down, guys. I'm struggling to figure out what the content for the coming weeks is going to be, because I have 2.5 months before the end of May, and everything's got to be in that's going to be planted, and I'll be shifting into maintenance mode. I'm excited about it. I'm kind of ready for it to happen, believe it or not, but 8 weeks is not a long time. So I've got really about 10 weeks before my shutdown. But really, in 8 weeks, I've got to know where everything's going, what's going to be happening with everything. And I'm just not feeling like that's all up here in my brain yet. So I'm just trying to process the information. This has been a really, really weird growing season because of the cold that we got. So unseasonably cold. I enjoyed every minute of it, but as a South Florida gardener, it was like learning how to garden all over again. So it's been few ups and a lot of downs, and I'm just trying to figure out how to go forward and how to avoid the chaos that I had this year as I plan for the next season. It's a lot. It's a lot. So I'm looking for some ideas. I really don't know what the content's going to be. I'm glad that you guys come around and hang out with me for whatever rambling I've got going on. But I'd like to give you what you want to see. I want to answer your questions. I want to figure out the game plan for the next season, the 2025-2026 season. And I'm happy to do that with you guys instead of trying to figure it out on my own. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you soon. Bye.